Hi, my friends. Welcome. It's me, Nosy, bringing you yet another fun, exciting, fresh episode on my channel. It's the Nosy Effect. I hope you all had a wonderful week. I had a bit of a weird one, my friends. I don't really know what happened. What is the date today? Is it Friday? Is it Saturday? Tuesday? That kind of week. But it's okay. Ready for today, ready to give you the best content. Let's see what we have for you today. I'm the youngest of four girls, which means by the time I came bouncing into the world, there was already a system laid out in the family, a rhythm. It made me curious to know if my older sister's experiences were similar to my own experiences as the youngest child. So in this video, we will be covering the birth orders as well as personality traits of the oldest child, the middle child, youngest child, and the only child. So there's this interesting thing called the birth order theory, and it is a theory that was developed by a researcher named Alfred Adler. And it simply states that the order in which a child is born plays a role in their development, shaping their personality, as well as their community, their family, and social aspect. So I came across this meme, this funny meme, and I just wanted to share it with you guys. And it simply just highlights personality traits of three of the ones that we will be covering in this video. So the oldest child would say, I'm the boss, I make the rules. The middle child, I'm the reason why we have rules. And the youngest, rules don't apply to me. Okay, so now let's take a look at personality traits of all four of these birth orders. The birth of the firstborn child tends to bring up so much joy. Everybody's excited to welcome this new member to the family. Well, they are the first. It's a bit of a trial and error from the parents' side, but they do get the hang of things eventually. Parents are a lot more strict when raising the firstborn, so firstborns are thrust into positions of leadership from such an early age. They have quite big responsibilities, sometimes responsibilities they have no business carrying on their shoulders. So according to this birth order theory, the oldest child tends to be reliable, responsible, a good leader, bossy, perfectionist, afraid of taking risks, afraid of failure, and they're high achievers. They go for the big careers. Now, when we look at the middle child, parents are said to be a lot less attentive when it comes to raising the middle child due to the experience they may have gained whilst raising the firstborn child. So middleborns are said to be people pleasers, attention seekers, and they can be rebellious, but they're also independent because they learn to take care of themselves from such an early age. They're good negotiators, good mediators, good peacemakers. They have good social skills, but they also have a hard time fitting in with their own family. They feel left out. Well, they're not the first, they're not the last. So they ask themselves, who am I? Now, moving on to the youngest child, the lastborn. Lastborns are known to be manipulative. They always get their way. They're self-centered, attention seekers. Where are we going with this? But they're also charming, outgoing, they're uncomplicated, and they're fun. Boom. Now, finally, we go to the only child. They have the only child and the oldest child have quite similar traits. So only children tend to be perfectionists. They're reliable, responsible, good leaders, but they also mature for their age. They tend to seek for approval, and they're also sensitive. Now, this is just a theory, so I had to dig a little deeper. I wanted to understand more, so I decided to ask a bit of questions, and I got quite a lot of amazing responses, even though it was a bit of a tough one getting those responses because people were like, nosy with the questions again. But my friends, it's part of the process. So I will be sharing with you the experiences of the middle child, only child, firstborn child, and my own experience as the lastborn child. Take a look. My experience as the youngest child. I have to say that being the youngest can be pretty cool, my friends. It has its perks. And I think something that really stands out for me would be knowing that I have a good, solid support system. And it's something that I'm really confident about when life gets a little sticky. I know that I do not have to carry the weight of the world on my shoulders because I have people behind me, people on both sides, people ahead of me, just cheering me on, wanting the best for me, loving me. And yeah, that is something that I really, really appreciate, knowing that I have people who are always willing to listen, always willing to help. On the other hand, it's not always rosy. I think something that I experienced before would be the need to be taken seriously. Because by the time you have your own opinions, by the time you want to make decisions for yourself, you already have people who have experienced life and they have opinions. And sometimes decisions are made for you where you just want to make decisions for yourself. So just wanting that space to make your own decisions and being allowed to do that and everyone being okay with that. So just wanting to be taken seriously. I think that's something I would say I have experienced before. That would be my experience as the youngest child. Now I'm just going to read through some of the responses I got from a few people, some pretty cool responses, and I'm going to start with the message from the middle child. And it reads, as a middle child, I often felt like I needed to follow directly in my older sister's footsteps. I had to do everything she did, then I would feel accepted. But as time went on, that became exhausting because that wasn't who I was. I wasn't my older sister, so I had to walk my own path. I had to be my true self. A message from the oldest child, firstborn. As a firstborn, I feel responsible for everyone. All depends on me, and I feel as a man, my father's name and legacy lies with me. So I'm supposed to be brave. I'm supposed to be strong and be able to stand up for myself and my family. Sounds like a lot of pressure. They also went to say, as the firstborn, some of us came along when our parents were only starting out in life, so you don't really have the best. The second child, I think, has it better. Interesting take. Message from an only child. As an only child, I am top priority. I don't have to fight with anyone for anything. On the downside, I would say I don't have someone who would feel the same amount of pain I will when I lose a parent. That's deep. Finally, of all the messages that I received, this has to be the best. This just takes the cup for me. And it's a message from the firstborn child. It says, as the firstborn, being the firstborn has made me responsible and independent. I do not have to depend on anyone for anything. But while I may be the eldest, at times I feel like I should have been the youngest because my younger siblings seem to have a level of maturity that I don't have. Interesting. Okay, so when I read this sort of made the gears in my mind turn a little. And there are certain characteristics that are needed in a firstborn child in order for them to carry out certain requirements or certain responsibilities, because we all know that firstborns have certain responsibilities in a family setup and they have to be a part of that. But what happens when the firstborn doesn't necessarily have those characteristics. What happens then? Because that doesn't take away from them being the eldest, but what if those kinds of characteristics are found in the middle child or in the youngest child? A prime example would be the story of Jacob and Esau. Remember how Jacob stole Esau's birthright? Esau sold his birthright for stew, and Jacob deceived his father actually. He deceived his father, and he was given the birthright, and it was a whole scandal. And, it just made me realize that, okay, so maybe Esau didn't really appreciate his birthright, and he didn't really appreciate his position in the family and the things that he was supposed to carry out, in as much as God had allowed it to happen. So I realized that sometimes, whilst the firstborn child is expected to carry out certain responsibilities, and they're expected to have certain characteristics or meet a standard, but what happens when they don't have those characteristics? Okay, I also realized that we all operate under some level of pressure. As the youngest, I felt pressure to suppress expectations. And as the oldest, you may have pressure to meet expectations, to show up for your family in whatever way. As a middle child, you have pressure to just be seen. You want to do something that will make you feel accepted by your family. And as the only child, you don't have anyone to share the burden of life with. Sometimes parents have certain expectations. They want us to do well in life, and you do not have someone that you will share the brunt of the burden with. And I also learned that some pressures, whilst we all operate under pressure, some pressures are self-imposed, because maybe you're looking at your situation and you realize, okay, the people before me didn't do so well, so I have to do it. I have to be there for my family. I have to be successful. If I don't do it, who's going to do it? So sometimes these pressures may be self-imposed. So whilst we all have different responsibilities, whilst our experiences are different and family dynamics are different, we all operate under some level of pressure. So what do you think, guys? This issue of birth orders, what has been your experience? Did I say something that resonated with you? I want to know what you guys think. I want to know what your experiences have been. Share with me. If you enjoyed my video, please like it. Don't forget to subscribe, comment, share this video, and you can now watch my videos on Facebook. Choice is yours, Facebook or Instagram. On Facebook, it is The Nosy Effect TV. And yeah, I will see you guys in the next one.